guys, Demeter here. I'm gonna quickly go over my ultimate bunny bossing build really fast, because I'm getting questions on it and people want to know. So let's go over it really fast. So this is a high voltage build with the transmod. High voltage turns it into a single target ability with increased damage and increased range. Exceptionally good for bossing. So cool few things about high voltage is it has a better cooldown than regular emissions. We need less cooldown built into the kit to keep it up permanently throughout the entire boss fight. Also, when electrocution procs, it has a chance to crit as well, which is where a lot of your damage comes from. So this build can crit for hundreds of thousands every second. So I run HP, I run double HP amp, and increase HP for the defense. You kind of need it in the late game bosses. I run focus on electric, focus on singular, two best damage perks for bunny. These mods combined give us enough cooldown to keep high voltage up the entire boss fight. No problems. We don't need any more in the kit. I run skill insight and emergency measures for the crit rate and for some extra crit damage. So my crit rate down here is 180%. If we go over to my info page, my crit rate currently, this is your actual crit rate, is 28%. We can push this higher with a better reactor with crit rate, but I'll talk about that in a second when I get to my components. But ideally, we want to aim for to get this number as high as possible, and 28 right now is pretty strong. Let's move on back to the build. So I run MP recovery, selective MP recovery. Ultimately, Bunny is a resource-based character. You need as much mana as possible. You can get in a boss fight. Stuff like MP collector doesn't really cut it in a boss fight because you're not killing enough mobs to get enough value. It's not the same as HP collector. It doesn't have a kill confirmed mechanic. It actually has a cooldown and it's chance based. It's just not worth it. You want to use MP recovery because you pick up those mana. You get the guaranteed mana recovery, which is insane for Bunny because. Fun fact, a lot of people don't know this, when you are full charged on Bunny, you do more damage the more electricity you have. So keeping that up during a boss fight will drastically increase your damage throughout the entire course of the fight. I run Spear and Shield as my defense mod. It gives bonus base skill power, which I really like. Most people probably should and will tell you to run the blue defense mod for more defense. However, if we go to my info page, my main page, I have 12,000 HP, 32 defense currently. If I swap this out, I jump to around 44 defense, which is really high. But having this much defense with Spear and Shield will get you through every boss fight in the game, no problems. If I do need to be more tanky, I will swap it out for regular blue defense. I have skill expansion and frugal mindset for the skill range with some extra skill cost reduction. That will give you enough range to stay safely away from the boss whilst constantly applying high voltage. We don't need any more range in the builds. It's kind of overkill. Can't really fit it anyway. If you get if you have too less range on your abilities, you're going to struggle and you're going to have to constantly sit next to the boss and tank a bunch of damage you shouldn't need to tank. I don't run any maneuvering perks. I just run regular grapple. I like to have the two grapples that you can choose what to do with during a fight because you might grapple onto the high ground, miss, and then be able to save yourself with a second grapple. That's pretty much my builds. I don't think I forgot anything else. No. Yeah, we want to push this crit rate as high as possible with this build. That's the focus of it. So we'll quickly go over my Thunder Cage. My Thunder Cage is firearm attack, crit damage, crit rate, weak point damage. Can't get better than that. Yeah, that's probably what you're looking for. All golds preferably, but it doesn't matter. It's a 2% difference. This is the Thunder Cage. My stats are firearm crit rate 82%, weak point damage 35%, fire rate 25%, crit damage 194%, firearm attack 78%. So this DPS number on the left is inflated. It's not your actual DPS. It's inflated by crit damage and fire rate and the specific other mods. This doesn't take into consideration mods like Real Life Fighter, Weak Point Insight, Chill Enhancement. These things are all hidden from the DPS counter, so if you take the Weak Point Insight off, like watch, my DPS doesn't change. However, my DPS inside of a boss fight has drastically changed when I take Weak Point Sight and put it back on. So people going for high flashy DPS numbers, just so you know, you're going to do less damage in a boss fight, period. real life fighter, this build rewards good aim. So if you can hit your shots consistently on weak points, you will shred. You will kill weak points in 1 to 2 magazines with this loadout. On pretty much every boss. If you get up close, get the angle, hit your shots, you will destroy weak points in 1.5, 2 mags. Next perk is Edging Shot. We want to push that crit rate as high as possible with this build. Crit rate on Thunder God, insane. Weak point insight for the weak point damage. I have chill enhancement currently, which is just flat DPS increase to your build. You can change this out to match what boss you are fighting to push even more damage. I just haven't done that because I would have to change the mod slot again. I might do it in the future, but not right now. And the rest of the mods are just pretty basic from the cage mods, which is concentration, priority for crit damage, better insight, crit rate, action, reactions, damage, and more crit damage, and obviously damage. My components are going to be, so we'll start with the reactor. It's going to be a Thunder Cage mounting with singular skill power boost and electric skill power boost at the bottom. Ideally, we want a crit rate and a crit damage instead of singular and electric skill. So we can push that crit rate even higher and get around about 37 to 40% crit rate, which would be ideal with Bunny. My auxiliary power is a defense max HP. My sensor is a max HP, max MP recovery in combat. Probably the best sensor you can get for Bunny unless you run a full set, which I don't recommend, but the only set I do run is Supernova 2 set, which gives you the electrified skill power, the electric skill power. I have double defense here with MP recovery. I have a defense toxic resistance max shield for the skill bonus. The reason why I don't run the 4 set is because it's just not worth it. The 4 set bonus isn't even that good on Bunny. It doesn't provide much damage, and the first 2 components will always raw max shield. If you drop them from execution, they will always drop max shield, so it's not worth losing the survivability. That's pretty much covers my entire build. Currently, I don't think there's a different bossing build. You can maybe do the Bionic Field HP Collector build, which I don't think is a very good bossing build. It's probably the best AoE build, but I don't think it's the best bossing build. Yeah, but that's about it, guys. Thanks. Peace out.